Shalom, family. Another edition of Maccabees TV. It's your brother Priest Daniela. Just doing a quick live stream. Current events. Peace to the family. Let me make sure I mute my mic on the other stream. All right. Do me a favor, y'all. If you can hear me, hit that number 1. Kind of doing a test. If you can hear me, hit that number 1, family. Let me know that you can hear me. Dee, the blue collar scholar, I see you. How am I doing for sound? I already know the audio is trash. I'm kind of used to that. King of 12, peace, I see you. Star, shalom. I'm getting the ones, that's what's up. I say peace to the family. I hope everybody's having a blessed day today. I don't know how the weather is where you are, but the weather's nice here, so hope everybody had a good day. If you didn't work, you got out, got you some sun. Yourself. I appreciate you coming to spend time with me, family. So let's wait for a few more people to come in, and I'm gonna get started. Y'all can see the title of the video that we have today. We're gonna talk about a current event, what's going on, and I wanted to talk about that. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw the post earlier where I said that I was going to be doing a PowerPoint today. And I was going to be doing a PowerPoint I was supposed to give last night. But it's kind of been a really busy day. So I didn't get a chance to put together the PowerPoint, where I could present it to you brothers and sisters tonight. So at the end of the show, I'll see how many of y'all are interested, and I'll go live again tomorrow night. And I'll give the PowerPoint presentation from last night that I didn't give. I want to shout out everybody that came on the live stream. I want to apologize to anybody that felt, discouraged or upset about some of the things that took place last night. We'll talk about them tomorrow, should I do the live stream. I'm not going to make this live stream about that today. So we'll talk about those things tomorrow. We're not going to allow people to change the narrative of what happens. The information was presented. It could not be dealt with. And that's the bottom line to that. So like I said, tomorrow, if it be the Lord's will, I will do a live stream tomorrow night. And I will address everything that happened last night from our side on our platform. And then we'll get into some slides and see what it is that I wanted to talk to the people about last night. It's really concerning what's going on down in Virginia. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I wanted to definitely talk to you a little bit about that. I really felt as though for you to do a PowerPoint about a civilization that was great 3,000 years ago, when there are current issues that are affecting us today that we can see on the news. It just doesn't make any sense, So I think that I should talk about this first and talk about that later, if that makes sense, okay? So let's get right down into it. I'm sure you brothers and sisters have been paying attention to what's going on the news, and you see what's happening down in Charlottesville, North Carolina. I'm going to share my screen. I wanted to show brothers and sisters, in case you don't know the background of what exactly is happening there. I kind of wanted to show brothers and sisters exactly what's happening over there and why it's happening. I think it's more important. I was just waiting to see a couple more brothers and sisters come in the room, but we're just gonna get started, and they can come in and they can catch up later. All right. So hopefully y'all can see my screen. So let's get it started. For those that don't know, this is a statue in Charlottesville, Virginia, of General Robert E. Lee. If you don't know who Robert E. Lee was, Robert E. Lee was the Confederate general of the South. And he has a statue that they were getting ready to take down in Charlottesville, North Carolina. So what happened was you had a lot of the neo-Nazi groups and the Klan groups that galvanized. And by the way, let me just say this, since we're on the subject. The scriptures speak about, in the New Testament, if you're a New Testament believer, the scriptures speak about Satan being divided against Satan. The neo-Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan, although they agree that they hate black people, they have a lot of beef, and they've had beef for decades, right? They argue and war and fight for decades. They're divided. But they're coming together for a common cause, and that common cause is that they are nostalgic about the days of Robert E. Lee, about the Confederate South, about slavery. They're nostalgic about that. And in this day and time where it's almost fashionable to be racist against our people by white people now, it's becoming a trend. It's very fashionable under the Trump administration. They decided to get together for a common cause, and that was to try to stop this statue from being taken down. So this is an article that I found on the subject. And so I decided just to pull it up for you guys, and we can read a little bit through it really quickly so that we can get a little background as to why they're going so crazy in South Carolina. I also want to say something else really quickly, if I may. And I'll probably repeat this throughout the live stream as well. The problem with us as black people, when it comes to things like statues of old Confederate, generals or slave owners or people who were racist, when it comes to things like that, when it comes to the Confederate flag, we want to have the symbols taken down, but we want to leave the system that produced these symbols in place. I'm not talking about those of us that are awoken to our nationality. I'm talking about regular, everyday so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. They'll want that so-called racist Confederate flag taken down. I understand the logic. I understand what the flag represents. So I too don't like to see the flag. And although I'm based in the Northeast, I'm going to tell y'all something. New York, I've seen those pickup trucks with Confederate flags. I've seen them in Jersey. I've seen them in Pennsylvania. So you have people even in the Northeast that are nostalgic for those old days in the South where they could openly be themselves and hate black people, and it was fashionable. But the problem that I have with our people that are not awoken is the symbols could come down, but the system that produces these symbols are still in place and still oppressing us. And that's the real issue. And a lot of our people, unfortunately, are missing what's really going on because they get caught up in stuff like this. I'm not saying that statue should stay up, but I'm saying there's a bigger fight that we need to be fighting. And we're not fighting the right fight, okay? Anyway, let's go. So, Charlottesville, Virginia is the site of this weekend's Unite the Right rally, an event that drew white nationalists from all over the country to the city. Since April 2017, when the Charlotte City Council first voted to remove a bronze equestrian Robert E. Lee sculpture, the city has been the site of alt-right protests and Ku Klux Klan rallies. Robert E. Lee was among a Confederate general during the Civil War and was the general who surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox in 1865. Lee lived until 1870, dying at age 63. Statues of Lee were erected throughout the South, and the movement to remove them was sparked by the 2015 killing of 9 black churchgoers in Charleston, South Carolina by white supremacists. So in 2015, there became this big nationwide rally to remove all the statues of Robert E. Lee that were erected in the South after the Civil War. Again, that's great. But the system that produces white supremacy, that pushes white supremacy, that reinforces white supremacy on our people is still in place. What the heck is removing a statue really going to do? It's going to do nothing. So our fight, we're fighting the wrong thing, okay? Let's continue a little bit with this article and then let's watch some video. On Saturday, 1 person was killed and dozens injured when a car hit a crowd of counter-protesters at the Unite the Right rally. Was canceled, when a car hit a crowd of counter-protesters at the Unite the Right rally was canceled by officials. A suspect was taken into custody. The Virginia Secretary of Public Safety confirmed 2 police officers were also killed in a police helicopter crash. So think about it now. If this was black people and they were just marching, like when we get shot down in the streets and we just march and have these rallies and stuff like that, you see police officers in militarized or military gear, okay, standing on the streets to stop people from protesting, peaceful protests. Whereas you have stuff going on like this in South Carolina, and there's no sign of the police anywhere. Watch this. I'm going to show y'all that. Watch. Let's watch this video. This is the video that they're talking about was killed when a car crashed into some protesters. There's not a police officer anywhere in sight. So this dude had time to plow the car into the crowd and back out and get away with no police officer anywhere there. And this, let me say this, sorry, I know the sound is drowning me out. This rally was being planned for a long time. They wanted to have police officers on the scene. They could have had police officers on the scene to stop this before it started. Before it even started. That's what they do for us. They want to stop it before it starts. It's crazy. So you see Nazis, you see Klansmen, you see all of that. And these dudes is about to get into a scuffle in a fight. Look at that. They're scuffling and they're fighting, and they're allowed to do it, and there's no police. Look at that. You see one police car there, and that's it. See it right there? See the one police car right there? That's it. Imagine if this was a rally after some unarmed black man got shot, and the protesters come out and they have a candlelight vigil for that brother that got shot down that was unarmed. Do you think there'll be one police car? There'd be like 100. And another 100 police officers in militarized gear. And a few of them on the daggone rooftops surrounding where the march is going to be. We're not seeing that here. You see? Let's go. Look at this. White people going wild. While black people is arguing about nothing, foolishness, this is what's going on in your world. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. Racial insurrections and unrest is going to come to America. It's going to happen. So you better be prepared. You better start getting your mind and your spirit right for what's coming. Because the scriptures warn us about these things in the Old and New Testament. And the scriptures are cyclical. So you can see certain things that were happening in some ancient societies that were happening, and America fits the prophecy or is doing the same things that those ancient civilizations were doing, like Assyria, like Egypt, like Babylon, like Greece, like Rome. America takes bits and pieces from all those societies, and they've implemented them in this society. So all the judgments that came down from the Almighty on those societies are going to come down on America. So we can read those prophecies in the Old Testament and surely know those prophecies are secular. If the Most High destroyed ancient kingdoms because of those sins, America is next. So we're going to see some stuff in these last days. So we have to prioritize and get our minds right, family. We do. It's important because these white folks, they're getting together. They're getting together. All right? And they're practicing. And they're fighting each other now, but the time is going to come when they're going to fight us. All right? I'm telling you now. And it might be just Jim or Bob that's working in the cubicle next to you. Don't sleep. Let's go. some of our people are watching Power, don't get it twisted. While Negroes are watching Power, loving him, this is what's going on in the real world. This is what's happening. Now, if you're paying attention, you see how the camera is giving you a panoramic view? Panoramic view is circling back and forth. How many police officers do you see? There are some, but there's not as many as if 10 Negroes decide they wanted to have a march tomorrow in the middle of any city square, you'd have about 100 police officers out there. Protesters. You hardly see any police. They're being allowed to do this. Okay? They're being allowed to do this. Hey, the next time that they call a black man a savage or whatever, show them this video. Make sure y'all show them. They call us savages and all that, but look at how they acting. All because this is all, it's over statue. They'll tell you it's a bigger issue than that, but it's over statue. Because that statue it brings back that nostalgia when America was great for white people. Okay? From the time of slavery all the way through the Jim Crow movement, that was when America was great for white people. Once those disappeared, or so they say they disappeared, that's a whole nother argument. Institutions disappeared. Now, America's no longer great. And that's why you had your man Trump running on that thing saying, make America great again. Make it great. You see? Go ahead. Y'all get the picture with this. Let's look at another one. All right. So these guys are all Trump supporters, supposedly, according to what the video says.
Look at this shit! Look at this shit! Beautiful! Holy shit! Woo! You will not replace us! Coming down the stairs. You will not replace us! You will not replace us! Still victory! You will not replace us!
Coming to a city near you in the future. Wake up.
We wouldn't stand up. Guess what? We're standing up for our rights. We're proud to be white. We're proud to be white, brother. Proud to be white. We're proud to be white. Hell victory. Hell yeah. Thank you. Love you guys. Hell victory.
Now, another thing, let me say this too, right? When you talk about neo-Nazis support Adolf Hitler. Right? So how are you a Nazi, but you an American at the same time? I thought the Nazis and Americans were enemies. These dudes are Trump supporters, but they're Nazis at the same time. This system has the minds of everybody messed up. It's not just black people, so-called Hispanic and Native American people that's lost. The majority of these white people, they're lost too. They don't have no knowledge. They're just as dumb as a doornail too. They don't know who the hell they are either. All right? They've been fooled by the elites too. The thing is that the media, what they do is they control the narrative. So they push a certain narrative on the news to convince these people that it's our people, so-called blacks, especially so-called Mexicans and the other Spanish tribes, that they're taking jobs from America and they're the ones that's destroying America and we're the ones committing all the crimes, so forth and so on. And the news organizations are controlled by the ones that we call so-called Jews. So what's happening now is that these so-called white people, these Nazis, these Klansmen, they are hypnotized by the lies, just like we're hypnotized by basketball and football and daggone reality shows and everything else that we're hypnotized by. They're hypnotized too by the media, but just on the polar opposite side. And they're being told that we're the problem. That's what this is all about.
What's up? What's up? Hey, how are you? This is absolutely crazy. This is F.T.W over there. Got a deep side over there.
We were told that we live in post-racial America. How is it looking to y'all so far?
Don't touch me. You're not gonna fucking touch me. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, watch me feel to be outnumbered, bitch. White lives matter. White lives matter. White lives matter. White lives matter. White lives matter.
So they screaming out white lives matter. It's not white men that's unarmed that's being shot down in the streets by police officers. You have had incidences like, I don't know if brothers and sisters know about Ruby Ridge years ago. I believe Ruby Ridge was during the Clinton administration. If I'm mistaken, just type it in the comment boards, where you had so-called white supremacists that were gunning down. They had like a compound someplace out west or the Midwest, and the feds came in there and they shot the family down, and they were known neo-Nazis and stuff like that. They've been complaining about that for like the last 2 decades. But they're not the ones really on a daily basis that's being shot down and killed in the streets unarmed. That whole Black Lives Matter thing, I'm not talking about the organization, because the organization we know was set up by so-called white people, philanthropists, and lesbians. And that's nothing to do with black people whatsoever. But the statement Black Lives Matter was come up with because we're getting shot down, and it's like as though our lives don't matter. But white people have a problem with that, so they had to take it, and now they've taken the chant, and they're saying white lives matter as though something is happening to them. You see what I'm saying? It's the time that we're living in.
White lives matter. 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 Who's this?
Where's the police? Where's the police? Where's the National Guard? Look at this. And this is the same white people that come on a comment board and call us a bunch of savages. But look at them.
Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Guys, pray for us, pray for us. Guys, holy shit. Holy shit. Bring the hand. Hold on.
Notice not one police officer anywhere. Anywhere.
Where's he at? Pray for us. This is crazy out here. Keep us in your prayers. They're attacking us.
Now, wait a minute. Y'all hear what he's saying? He said, pray for us, keep us in your prayers. So this guy is a Christian. And we do know that the Ku Klux Klan claimed to be Christians. And the slave masters that had us on the plantations, they were Christians. But somehow now in 2017, you have white Christians that call themselves apologists that want us to come and worship and be Christians. You see the logic? Instead of the Christian apologists fighting against us, why aren't they fighting against these guys? Why don't I see James White talking about these guys? Instead of talking about Israelites. You know why you won't see James White talking about these guys? Because he's probably at this rally his damn self, because he's a racist his damn self. All right?
Communist round. White lives matter. 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 Holy shit. Hey, there's a tear gas canister out here. Oh shit, they're throwing shit.
Finally, the police arrived. Finally. If this had been a rally of black people, they would have been there before we got there.
I love you. Stand up for your people, man. Stand up for your people, man. Stand up for your people. Tight out here, bro. Bro, this is real love out here. This is real fucking love. Shit. I'm tired. I'm intimidated.
So that's what's going on in America right now, family. That's exactly what's going on. Right. A king of 12, like you said, it would have been mass arrest. It would have been way different if it was us. But unfortunately, it's not us, so they're allowed to do stuff like this. But the point of all this is, and the reason why I did this live stream, it's going to be a pretty short live stream, family, and show y'all what's really happening in the world. And we have to be aware of these things that's happening, and we have to be prepared. I don't suggest that whatever you do to be prepared for what's coming, I don't suggest that you post your business on Facebook. I see Israelites that will, I see Israelites that they might have a license to have a gun or something like that, and you post your gun on YouTube, or you post your gun really on Facebook and stuff like that. I don't suggest that brothers do that. I'm not saying there's any type of sin with that. But if you're preparing for what's coming, everybody don't have to know what you're doing. Everybody doesn't have to see what it is that you're doing and how you're preparing. Just be prepared, because they're preparing. They want a war. And the scriptures tell us about that. Matter of fact, let me share my screen again. Real quick. Let's talk about that. The scriptures tell us about these things. These are the things that are really important in our day and time. This is what's really important, more so than any debates or anything like that. And yes, we have participated in debates. And yes, we participated in a debate last night. Yes. And the reason why, like I said, I see a lot of people have come into the room since I started playing the videos. Tomorrow, if it be the Most High's will, I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm going to address what happened Saturday night. And I'm also going to show some slides as well. We do these debates because I get a lot of inboxes from people who have been saved from that whole Kemetic philosophy because of what we do. So that's why we do debates. Nonetheless, as I told brothers and sisters earlier, it would make no sense for me to come on here and do a live stream video with you brothers and sisters when this is really going on in the world. This is more important than anything else. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And I'm jumping down to verse 14. Yeah, 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14 on down. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." And that's the time we're living in now. This is also talking about ancient times, but it's relevant to now. The prophecies are secular. Okay, they apply at different times. And America fits all the prophecies of all the ancient kingdoms that went into wickedness. America has adopted all those customs and brought them here. So all those judgments that the Lord brought on those ancient nations are coming to America also. So this is relevant. Reading again. "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another people, and swords in their hands. For there shall be seditions amongst men." Seditions meaning uprisings. There's going to be uprisings and racial conflicts in America coming soon, whether you believe it or not. And you're seeing the framework of that being set up by the media. When the media is showing you now every day some black person being shot down and stuff like that in the streets, it's always been happening. It's not nothing that's new. But the media is kind of harping on it more than ever with the advent of social media, the 24-hour news cycle, people with cell phones, cameras everywhere. So now you're seeing it more. And what is it doing? It's riling up black people. Riled up and be upset. But on the flip side, white folks are getting riled up and they're upset. It's the same thing. They're riled up, they're upset, they're angry. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? There's going to be seditions and uprisings and people fighting against people. That's coming. So you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared spiritually. You have to be prepared physically. And you have to be prepared mentally for what's coming, because the Bible tells us it's coming. But the Most High always warns us about what's going to happen before it happens. All right? Reading on, let's go back to 2nd Esdras. I'll read verse 16 again. For there shall be seditions among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's all. When you hear about things like martial law and stuff coming, that's true. A man's going to desire to go from one city to another, but it's not going to be able because of the seditions, because of the uprisings, and then they're going to bring in martial law and all this other stuff that they plan on implementing. That's coming. Verse 18, for their pride, for because of their pride, their cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So there's going to be famines. That's coming to America as well. When you read the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, starting from verse 1 on down, it tells you that the sound of the grinder is going to be brought low. There's going to come a time where we're already seeing it, where jobs are becoming less and less. More and more companies are shipping jobs overseas. So we're seeing prophecies being fulfilled. And what's so great about being an Israelite, what's so great about being an Israelite and believing in the Bible is we're warning our people about what's to come. When you start dealing with these other philosophies, they're not warning our people about what's coming. They want to debate 3,000-year-old history, which is okay. But there has to be some balance. You see what I'm saying? There has to be a little bit of balance, because this is going on right now. It's getting hot out here. It's getting hot. The Ku Klux Klan is rising back up. Even though I believe that they're a government-controlled organization, an FBI-controlled organization. Look at this. Look at this. Just beasts. You know? Now, if it was reversed, if it was black people rioting and doing this stuff like that, you would see all the crackers coming on the comment board talking about we're a bunch of savages, we're a bunch of beasts, we're a bunch of this, we're a bunch of that. But look at them. And why are they doing what they're doing? If you're late to the live stream, I'll take it back. All this is going on because the city council of Charlottesville, Virginia, decided that they were going to take down the statue of Robert E. Lee and other statues across the South of Robert E. Lee, who was one of the generals of the Confederate Army. So they use this as a galvanizing point to go crazy and do the things that they're doing. All the while, we're sitting around and we, as black people, so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, we're playing games, man. That's why I get upset when I'm on Facebook and I see somebody post something, and the next thing I know, there's 500 comments with everybody arguing back and forth. We become arguelites. I'm talking to Israel now. Many of us have become arguelites, where you just have to be right about every goddamn thing. And you'll sit there and argue with somebody from the time that they post the video at 8, from the time that they post their comment at 8 a.m. in the morning, you going back and forth with them at 8 o'clock at night, 500 comments later. For what? When all this stuff is going on in the world. And we see what's going on with North Korea, which is another show I'm going to do. That's the real issue. And that's what we really need to be talking about. And nobody else is going to tell our people but us, Israel. No disrespect to the Kemetic cats, they don't deal with prophecy. They're trying to carve out their piece of America. They're the ones that would say that we need to take down a statue of Robert E. Lee. We need to take down a Confederate flag. But they want to leave the system in place. And the system is the problem. Why do they want to leave the system in place? Because they want to be part of the system. But we as Israelites, we know our scriptures teach us, love not the world, neither the things in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Because this world presently, as it's constituted, is evil and wicked. You see? So that's the time that we're living in, family. We got to talk about current events, man. And I'm going to do that more here on Maccabees TV as well. Start talking more about current events, what's going on. And during the 24-hour news cycle, sometimes every couple of minutes I'm getting an alert that something is going on. There's some breaking news about something. Sometimes it's a lot of crap too. But there's a lot of things happening in the world, and there's also a lot of distractions as well, man. Trump go and drop some bomb somewhere and uses the wag the dog thing to try to divert attention away from what's going on with him and the whole Russia thing. All right? And by the way, if you did not see the last video that I did on Maccabees TV, there's a video out on YouTube. It's a documentary that I suggest any Israelite, I would suggest, if you haven't seen it, take a couple of minutes off of watching the reality shows and YouTube a documentary called The Dubious Friends of Donald Trump. Friends of Donald Trump. It is a documentary that's on YouTube. It's free for you to watch. And if you're a little lost about what's going on with this whole Trump-Russia thing, that documentary is very good. It will put you in the loop, and you'll get a better grasp and understanding of what's happening with that. Because we have to pay attention to prophecy, and we have to warn our people. That is our job. If we don't do it, it's not going to get done. Because nobody else cares about that. Nobody else cares about prophecy. Everybody else is trying to make it in America or carve out their niche in America. But we as Israelites, we're not looking for that. Marcus the Wise Man says World War III has already begun. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's 100% fact. All right? Them KKK, Warrior Law says them KKK are President Trump supporters. That's why he did not directly call out these KKK in his speech regarding Charlottesville. That's correct as well. That's correct as well. That's his base. Those are the people that voted for him. Those are his supporters that blindly support him, even though it's all fake, even though he's a puppet. We all know that. But those are his supporters. So absolutely, 100%. You see? So this is our job, family. This is what the Most High ordained us to do. All right? So we have to go out and we have to warn our people about these things. All right? Let's see. I seen one lone black dude. Now you finally see some police over here in the corner. You finally see some police over there in the corner. Finally, after all this is going on. If they really were concerned with stopping this whole thing, the police would have been out there before the rally even started like they do for us. You know what I'm saying? 100%. Let me see. So FIFA Mafia says, it says, I support you, bro, but that's not the point. But America has killed millions of people. They still kill the existence of America. God bless you, bro. Absolutely. America's killed everybody. America goes around the world and kills everybody. That's a fact, bro. I'm not in a disagreement with that at all. The history shows us that. Everywhere America has gone, they've raped, robbed, and murdered. Absolutely. The indigenous here of America, they did it over there in Japan. Okay, they did it over there in the Philippines. They did it over there in Hawaii. Everywhere they go. They did it over there in Iraq. They did it in Kuwait. They do it in South Africa. Well, that's not the American white man, but it's the white man nonetheless. Everywhere they go, that's what they do. Absolutely. Marcus the Wise One says the KKK has sleeper cells all over America. Yeah, they're training and they're preparing. And then you have to remember, too, there's something else out there called militias. You have a lot of militia groups all throughout, like the Midwest and, you know, the central states and the Midwest and even the West. You have a lot of what they call militia groups as well. And they're training. Their videos are all over YouTube. I'm going to tell y'all Israelites something. I'm going to put you up on game, right? You know, you can learn from your enemies. Don't be proud. We know that they are enemies, right? But you have a lot of videos on YouTube where you'll see white people that are teaching you about survival. They'll teach you how to live out in the woods, how to start fires, how to, you know, hunt, how to tie knots, how to pitch a tent. You know what I'm saying? How to test water to see whether, you know, the pH balance of water, whether you could drink it, whether you could not drink it. They'll teach you basic survival skills. Watch them and learn. Because one day that may come in handy for you. You see? There's a lot going on that we have to be prepared for. And they're on there, and that information is not intended for you. It's intended for their audience. But if you can use it, use it. Okay? I'm going to say this. I said this earlier. A bow and an arrow can't hurt, right? Hashayat, that's 100% right. Bows and arrows are legal. So invest in a bow and arrow. Go to Walmart and buy a bow and arrow and learn how to use it. It might sound like something simple, but it may come in handy for you one day, I'm telling you. children like, Hashad says, Mississippi kids love the outdoors. Absolutely. And kids like stuff like that. And teach your children as well how to fight. All right? Different styles of martial arts, grappling, boxing, Muay Thai, whatever they're interested in. Teach them how to fight. Teach them self-defense. Things are all going to become necessary in our time. Right, Marcus the Wise One, you bring out a lot of good points. He said a lot of the militia groups, they join just for training, then use it for their benefit. Absolutely. And that's Marcus. What did that brother do? That brother went into the FBI and learned all their tactics and brought it back to his people. That's the level that we need to be on, family. We have to be prepared for what's coming. So I just wanted to do a quick, short live stream, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in American family. Take, I don't know, 20 minutes every day and watch the news and make sure you keep informed of what's going on. I know sometimes it's repetitive and it's the same stuff over and over again, but make sure you stay in the loop because things are popping off every day. Augustus Kane asked me, why didn't I come to the House of Consciousness reunion? Well, about that tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to live stream again, family, sometime around 8 o'clock. Ayash Hawad is called The Dubious Friends of Donald Trump, if that's the one you asked me about. The Dubious Friends of Donald Trump. I showed it, a piece of it in my last live stream last week. Augustus Kane asked me why I didn't come to the House of Consciousness reunion today. I was supposed to go, but as everybody knows, some situations took place last night. And so I wanted to take a moment to fall back, and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. I'm also going to give some of my slides tomorrow as well. So you might want to tune in tomorrow at about 8 o'clock, stuff to link up tomorrow around 8 o'clock. Pretty much, I'm going to go into it. I'm going to answer everybody's questions, all right? 12:30, the Prince asked, don't the news bend the truth? Some level of truth in the news. I will say this, though, if I may. Subscribe to news stations like Al Jazeera on YouTube. You have Al Jazeera. You have BBC America. You have Press TV. Hey, I'll go down that list again. You have Russia Today, Press TV. You have BBC America, Al Jazeera. Those are alternative news stations. So if you feel like you're not really getting the truth from CBS, NBC, and ABC, which you're not, you could tune into those news stations, and I guarantee you, when you tune into like Al Jazeera or Russia Today, especially Russia Today, you'll see a lot of stories that don't make your 6 o'clock news that you'll be surprised that's going on. To your point, I saw that, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. All right. That's all I'll say on that at the moment. I'm good with that. That's cool. Soundwave One says there's a lot of psyop stuff going on in mainstream news. Yep, absolutely. Hey, Marcus the Wise One, you on fire, King. He said, House of Consciousness reunion doesn't have the solutions for Black people. Only the Hebrew Israelites do. That's right. Through the power of the Most High God of Israel and our holy scriptures, we do have the solution for our people, and they don't. So I'm with you 100%. 100%. Absolutely. And that's why we have to continue doing what we're doing. And that's why we're talking about what we're talking about today, because they're not going to talk about that. They're going to come back and talk about 3,000-year-old history every time. Every single time. Caribbean Queen, I see you. Shout out to you. Michael Woodard, peace to you. Let's see, who else? Who else is in the building? FIFA Mafia, looks like this is probably your first time on the channel, so I say welcome to you. I'm about to end the live stream, family. I didn't intend for this to be too long. I just wanted to shout y'all out and talk about what's going on in Charlottesville, Virginia, and just prepare your minds to what's coming in America. We gotta stay on point. We gotta stay focused, and the Most High is going to deliver us. The fight is already decided. The prophecies are already written, and they say that the Most High says Israel is going to prevail. Ashai Yah, I appreciate you. Thank you for hitting the super chat. I do appreciate you. Michael Woodard, no new music with Ash yet, but we're going to film a video for Banging on Esau Part 2 at the Workout Challenge, August 27th. Y'all already know about it. I told y'all. Make sure you're there. Video for Asha Sha'ala's song, Banging on Esau 2. And at some point, he and I will probably get back in the studio and do a sequel to that song as well. Lewis Caldwell, I see you. Shalom to you, true Israelites. Those brothers, the true Israelites, those brothers can never be objective, and so I know that, and because of that, I'll take that into consideration going forward. As far as information is concerned, and I'm just going to say this, and like I said, I'm going to live stream tomorrow on that subject. As far as information is concerned, they could not deal with the information being presented. They're trying to change the narrative into this whole thing about the fact that brothers were unruly, and I don't deny that brothers were unruly. But they're trying to change the narrative as though their information wasn't getting smashed. But I see right through them. So it's okay. 100%. Michael Woodard, I appreciate that. Claude White, Brother Claude, in the building. What's good, King? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, family. So with that, once again, family, join me tomorrow night, approximately 8 o'clock. I'm going to put the link on my Facebook page. I'm going to create the link when I come in tomorrow from work. And I'm going to do a video tomorrow. A lot of inboxes, a lot of messages, non-stop. So I'm going to address the situation from last night, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not going to allow the narrative to be changed. Their information was smashed. Their information. Talking about what happened, but I'm also going to be presenting some of the slides I was not able to present last night. And my slides only have to do with common sense. I didn't even have to go that deep. So make sure that y'all tune in tomorrow. I'm going to set up the notification right after I end this live stream, so you're going to get it. Make sure you subscribe to Maccabees TV. When you subscribe to Maccabees TV, make sure you hit that little alert bell right next to the subscribe button. It lets you know every time that I go live or every time I upload a video, and you will see and get a notification about tomorrow's video tomorrow night. You definitely want to be in the building because I got a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow concerning last night, and definitely got a lot of stuff to talk about concerning Kemet. Me and Jabari had a nice conversation outside, so he know what time it is. But I'm going to tell you all about that tomorrow. So peace to y'all. Let's see anybody else. Drings 100, peace to you. Luciano L, peace to you. No doubt. No doubt, there's definitely a lot of yelling. That's what Israel and Kemet do when we get together. There'll be a lot of yelling. Brothers is passionate about what they believe in. Not saying it's right, but it is what it is. So with that, family, I'm about to get out of here. Michelle Revolutionary, peace to you. I'm about to get out of here. I'm going to set the alert now for the live stream tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Make sure that y'all in the building. We're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to take some questions from the family, and I'm going to show a few slides for my presentation. Nothing too deep, nothing too long. All right? Love y'all, Israel. Stay strong, and peace out.